that will not defend the Jewish people will die. A society that tolerates anti-Semitism is sabotaging itself. And anti-Semitism today takes on all kinds of different forms. It sometimes has its polished forms. I call it white-collar anti-Semitism. I experienced a lot of it in the United Nations this summer. It is credentialed. It is institutional. It is carefully worded. It hides behind bureaucracy and procedures. It steals language left to international law. It applies standards to Israel that it applies to no other nation on earth, however grotesque and brutal it is, including the Islamic Republic. It excuses things that are inexcusable. And the truth is, the United Nations itself has become the largest anti-Semitic organization in the world. Woo! They launder lies, they give anti-Semitism a badge and a briefcase, and hate is their credential. But anti-Semitism on the right is different. It rarely comes wearing its real name. It comes through a side entrance labeled free speech. It acts like it's seeking answers. It presents itself as just asking questions. It flatters people who feel left out and offers them an explanation that feels like power. Your problems are not complicated. Your enemies are just hidden. Your suffering has a mastermind. And there it is, again, the ancient superstition reborn that the Jewish people are not a people but a plot, a reason to frustrate you. It isn't always shouted. It rarely is, in fact. It's smuggled through insinuation, through symbols, through a wink and a raised eyebrow. It hides behind vague enemies like the elites and the system, globalists. But the story keeps circling back to the same topic. And if your worldview requires a Jewish villain to make sense of your frustration, then you are sick. Your politics needs that poison to stay energized. Your politics is already rotting from the inside. Our leaders in this world exist precisely to do something about all of this. And if you are failing to do this, then you are failing to be a leader, and you probably ought to do something else with your life. And leaders, they don't fail at once. They fail one excuse at a time. One, I don't like it, but he's useful. One, yes, but at a time. Anti-Semitism actually thrives on weak and timid people. Not people like those here today, but we know who these people are. Anti-Semitism feeds on hesitation and fear. It grows in the pause between when leaders decide that confronting it will be too costly and too complicated and too divisive. But if anti-Semitism is appearing on your side, it is your responsibility to confront it publicly, clearly, and without apology, and in the most purely Christian sense in the world, ruthlessly. We root out anti-Semitism from our community. And this is where we must draw a distinction that our age seems to have lost. A free society welcomes argument for sure, but a serious society draws lines. Not every idea is equal. Not every claim deserves a platform. Not every conspiracy deserves a microphone. And conservatives of all people should understand this. The duty of conservatives is not some conservative vibe. It is to conserve something. It's to conserve truth and order and dignity and moral limits and the sanctity of the human person. It's not a romance with suspicion. It's not the elevation of the loudest voice or to be isolationistic. It is the defense of civilization itself against forces that corrode it. And anti-Semitism is the original corrosive force. And to be frank, to use a common phrase in our community, this is a come to Jesus moment for conservatives. And let me be clear, if you helped create this problem, if you platform charlatans and hate mongers on the auspices of debate in the United States of America, if you treated poison like content, if you let the algorithm decide your moral boundaries, then you don't get to shrug now and say, what do we do about it? You get to do what my grandpa used to tell me, an old country preacher. He never had a church with more than 50 people in it, but he was wise, and he used to say, if you broke it, it's time you fix it. And it gets fixed by refusing to normalize what never should have been normal. It gets fixed by starving the grifters of legitimacy, by choosing principle over clicks, courage over convenience, truth over tribe. It means speaking the truth even in the face of a friend. Because anti-Semitism is always a civilizational emergency. It's not just another viewpoint. It is a betrayal of our values. It is evil. And I can tell you as evangelicals, we will use our size and our scale to educate our way out of this danger zone, and we'll bring most of the conservative community with us. We will build a moral immune system strong enough to resist this virus. The street level version or the white collar version. We will teach our children how to recognize anti-Semitism. We won't allow our community to become a cheap political date. We have expectations. We make demands. We enforce those demands because we do understand that we are powerful. We are 1/3 of all voters in the United States of America, and we aren't tolerating this. It's time for decent people to stand up. Because anti-Semitism doesn't expand because of the boldness of the anti-Semites. It expands because of the retreat of good people. And if we do this, we will build a great wall around the Jewish community, a great and impenetrable wall of solidarity around our values that we get from them and that we share. And I believe with all my heart that every generation faces a test, and we recognize this on a day like this. And we are the post-October 7 generation. And we have surged back across borders and ideologies and institutions and screens, and sometimes in our own communities. And history is going to ask, where were the leaders? And who drew the line and held it? And let the answer be here today, that we are not hiding, and we are not rationalizing, and we're not trading principle for convenience. We're not confusing cowardice for prudence. We are standing as watchmen on the wall and as warriors of a generation of truth in the trenches. We aren't confused. We're certainly not going to lose. Anti-Semites are not 10 feet tall and unstoppable. They're not the future. They are weak, small people, and there are far fewer of them than they want us to believe. They are a fever, and we are the cure. There will be no intimidation for our voices and no hesitation in our resolve. We will defeat them. We will preserve our future generations. We will win because it's our time and we aren't the weak ones. We are the bearers of truth. We are the builders of the West, and we're going to keep it. We are the friends of the Jews, and that's how the right should reply to anti-Semitism.
So we're up for a panel discussion now. I'd ask the panelists to come up as I call their names. Carissria is an American political commentator and former producer of Times and Newsmax. She's a rising leader at the Global Liberty Institute, and she's currently working on a book about right-wing identity politics. Please join us on stage. It is my pleasure to call on Seth Dillon who the Babylon Bee is, and if not, you will soon learn.
I love Babylon Bee. Eu sigo
Pastor Gonzalo Washington is the founder and CEO of the Institute for Black Solidarity with Israel.
Foi dele que eu tirei a minha ideia de fazer na rádio Babylon Bee. Eu também uso uma abelhinha, que nem
and people of African descent through education and advocacy, and also a professional musician. And James Lindsay is a leading cultural critic and intellectual who, along with Peter Bogosian and Helen Blackrose, perpetrated some of the most vicious hoaxes on faux academic postmodern journals. We'll hear about that too. I mentioned Hitler.